Mm, mm, mm. Come on in the room. We got breaking news. Okay, CNN reports that Vice President Harris has chosen Minnesota Governor Tim Walsh to be her running mate as she heads toward November face-off against Donald Trump, according to two familiar sources. Walsh, 60 years old, emerged as a dark horse contender for the number 2 slot as chatter over the high-profile names, in particular Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, dominated the early portion of the Veep stakes. But the Minnesota governor saw his profile rise considerably over the last week, especially after a viral cable news interview, which he derided some Republicans as weird, a line of attack later adopted by national Democrats. Waltz was also seen by many as a safer choice for Harris, thanks to liberal bona fides and the fact that some of the other contenders had come under fire from certain segments of the left. Shapiro received heavy scrutiny recently over his response to pro-Palestinian protests that emerged in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war, while both he and Kelly drew the ire of union leaders. Adding to Walsh's appeal is the fact that he hails from a Midwestern state that Trump has increasingly set his sights on flipping. Though Biden won Minnesota in 2020 by 7 points, and no Republican has won the presidential race there in more than 50 years, Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, have stepped up their efforts to campaign in the state. All right, so breaking news. VP Kamala Harris has chosen. Oh my goodness. Hold on a second. I'm getting sorry, I'm getting messages. Okay, there we go. VP Kamala Harris has chosen Minnesota Governor Tim Walsh as her running mate. All right, so that's the breaking news, but I got other news. The Dow Jones slumps over 1,000 points as fear about the U.S. economy intensified. Words about the U.S. economy sparked a worldwide sell-off on Monday, leading the Dow Jones Industrial Average to its worst day since 2022. And Japan's stock market to its worst drop since Wall Street's Black Monday in 1987. Economists have blamed the rise in U.S. unemployment blamed the rise in the U.S. unemployment rate, as well as the Federal Reserve's long wait to cut interest rates as possible reasons for the sell-off. Other analysts have called the drop a market overreaction and expect to bounce back. To their point, Japanese shares soared early Tuesday morning as markets respond. Technology stocks, in particular, were pummeled on Monday. Bitcoin also tumbled from nearly $62,000 on Friday to around $54,000 on Monday. Donald Trump blamed VP Kamala Harris's rising poll numbers for the downturn. Writing on Truth Social, Kamala doesn't have a clue. Biden is sound asleep, all caused by inept U.S. leadership. And Trump cash versus Kamala crash. Trump has frequently tried to claim responsibility for stock market records set under President Biden. Google illegally maintains monopoly over internet search, judge rules. On Monday, a U.S. district judge ruled against Google in high-stakes Justice Department lawsuit, saying that Google has been illegally exploiting its dominance to squash competition and stifle innovation. The judge wrote, "Google is a monopolist, and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly." Google and its parent company Alphabet Inc. argued that its popularity stemmed from consumers' overwhelming desire to use the search engine so good at what it does that it has become synonymous with looking things up. There will be a hearing on September the 6th to determine what sorts of changes or penalties should be imposed on Google to reverse the damage done and restore a more competitive landscape. The Justice Department filed the antitrust case nearly 4 years ago while Donald Trump was still the president. Google says its plans to appeal the decision. Google's search engine processes and estimate 8.5 billion queries per day worldwide, nearly doubling its daily volume from 12 years ago. Other Google news, and I reported on this yesterday. Google pulls the Olympic ad to show AI writing a little girl's letter for her. I didn't like this news. I love the ad. I thought the ad was great. Google pulled a controversial Olympic ad after critics blasted it for portraying what they called a bleak application of the artificial intelligence. Basically, oh wait, I'll tell you. The ad showed a father using Google's Gemini AI chatbot to help his daughter write a fan letter to U.S. Olympic track star Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Google initially defended the ad, which ran during breaks from the Olympics, saying it showed how Gemini could provide a starting point for a piece of writing. Critics online asked why Google would want to replace the child's creativity with words written by a computer. On Friday, Google pulled the ad and said, while the ad tested well before airing, given the feedback, we have decided to phase the ad out of our Olympics rotation. Secretaries of State urged Elon Musk to fix AI chatbots spreading election misinformation. In a letter Monday, 5 secretaries of state urged Elon Musk to fix an AI chatbot on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, which they say is spreading election misinformation. They say the AI chatbot Grok produced false information about state ballot deadlines shortly after President Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. The misinformation shared across multiple social media platforms and reached millions of people, according to the letter. And Grok continued to repeat the false information for 10 days before it was corrected. The secretaries of state represented Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Washington state. They said misinformation was also spread about Alabama, Indiana, Ohio, and Texas, but those election officials did not sign a letter. Grok is available only to subscribers to the premium versions of X. Tulsa creates a commission to study reparations for 1921 race massacre victims and their descendants. Tulsa officials announced the creation of a new commission to recommend how reparations can be made for the 1921 massacre that destroyed the Black community in what was known as Black Wall Street. The panel will review commission reports from 2001 to 2023, which both called for financial reparations, which Mayor G.T. Bynum has opposed. Instead, Mayor Bynum advocated for a non-financial reparations action, including improving healthcare, educational opportunities, and the return of the land to survivors and descendants. Reparations would also include a housing equity program. The committee will include one person picked by the mayor and one person picked by a city council member. A group of community members and city staff recommended 11 others based on applications. I'm really desperate now. Temu sellers are revolting. I mentioned this yesterday. Online shopping site Temu, a widely popular rival to Amazon, is facing backlash from independent merchants based in China over unjust fines levied by the company and withheld payment of goods already sold. Hundreds of sellers staged a demonstration last week at the office affiliated with Temu in southern Chinese cities, Guangzhou. Let's see what else. 4 people killed in tropical storm Debbie hits Florida with floods. Threat of record rains in Georgia and the Carolinas. Tropical storm Debbie slammed Florida on Monday with torrential rain, and high winds contributed to at least 4 deaths in the state and the rescue of hundreds from flooded homes. The deaths included multiple car crashes, including a truck driver who lost control of the tractor trailer, as well as a 13-year-old boy who died Monday morning after a tree fell on a mobile home. In southern Georgia, a 19-year-old man died when a large tree fell onto the porch. Record-setting rain was causing flash flooding, which with up to 30 inches possible with some areas. In some areas, the National Hurricane Center said Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said that the state could continue to see threats as waterways north of the border fill up and flow south. Debbie is now moving north and could flood some of America's most historic southern cities. So look out for Hurricane Debbie. Supreme Court rejects bid to halt Trump's sentencing in New York hush money case. The U.S. Supreme Court on Monday rejected a long shot bid at halting former President Donald Trump's sentencing and gag order in his New York City hush money case. The state of Missouri had argued that the rights of Missouri voters to hear from presidential candidates were being violated by the New York criminal proceeding. In an unsigned 2-sentence order, the court denies Missouri's motion and dismissed as moot the state's motion for preliminary relief or stay. The order said Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito would have granted the motion for leave to file the bill if not for other relief. Donald Trump was convicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records in May. His sentencing hearing is September the 18th. I imagine that's going to be interesting with the election going on. Let's see. If you are in St. Louis, make sure you vote. Okay, if you're in St. Louis, make sure you vote today. Black Muslim group endorses Harris after its uncommitted stance on Biden. The Black Muslim Leadership Council Fund, a national Muslim organization, has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president. The group previously declared itself as uncommitted on President Joe Biden's reelection due to his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. The organization was created in March with the hope of pressuring elected officials, including Biden, to call for a permanent ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. Since Biden's decision to drop his re-election bid, some other Muslim groups have said they remain uncommitted to Harris's candidacy. What else do I have? What else is on here? I think that's all I have for y'all today that I haven't covered before, I believe. I believe. Oh, I told y'all about the AI. The AI sexual abuse. AI sexual abuse is on the rise. So they're asking tech companies to solve that, which is wild. We know that that the athletes are facing scrutiny. Damn. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm trying to make these a little bit shorter and get right to the news. I know it's kind of hard because it takes a little bit of time for people on Instagram to recognize that I am live. But I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. I'll be right back tomorrow with news. Also, you can catch me on Sundays on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126 from noon to 1. You can also catch me on Tuesday mornings from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Urban View Mornings, SiriusXM Channel 126. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you follow and go over to my my freaky Reddit. Cardi B has been hit hard with the dirty AI. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? Let me read that. So that BMO, shout out to BMO Brown, who has Wake and Bake with BMO, his podcast, which is award winning. And definitely I feel like is a voice of our country. All right, with AI sexual abuse on the rise, the White House is tapping big tech for support. I'm gonna cover this again since because BMO mentioned that they've been hitting Cardi B hard with the dirty AI. In May, the Biden-Harris administration announced a call to action to curb image-based sexual abuse, a problem that artificial intelligence has intensified in recent years. The abuse disproportionately targets girls, women, and LGBTQ plus community. In June, the Center for Democracy and Technology, the Cyber Civil Rights Initiative, and the National Network to End Domestic Violence announced that they will form a working group to counteract the circulation and monetization of image-based sexual abuse. In late July, Meta, owner of Facebook and Instagram, removed 63,000 accounts linked to sextortion and children and teens. According to the White House, stopping abusive images, whether real or AI generated, from being circulated and monetized requires not just the government to act, but tech companies as well. From payment processors to mobile app stores to mobile app and operating system developers, cloud providers, search engines, and more. Yo, we're gonna need some help. That's all I gotta say. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I'll be right back in tomorrow. Actually, I may not do news next week. I have to decide. I may have to try to pre-record for y'all if I can, because I'll be out of town. But I just want to say thank y'all so much. I really appreciate you for tuning in. Every time you tune in, go over to my YouTube and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube right now, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. The YouTube is at The Omi Show. All right. See y'all later.